Okay, tonight's story is The Ghost with a Rose in Her Hair, January 1960. A tall woman in white was frighteningly insubstantial, but she left a material token of her visit. Where is he? In September of 1908, my father and mother, Charles and Laura Harwell, moved into a large three-story stucco house across from the city park in Norfolk, Virginia. The house was similar to a thousand other built in the late 1800s, planned with a large hall opening on a lower parlor, a dining room, kitchen, and pantry with a west wing built off into an L shape on the first floor, two large bedrooms, and a hall on each upper floor. As I was aware, as I was away at school most of the time, the top floor hall room was assigned to my use when home, and the largest front room was reserved as a sort of den and library. A large room in the rear of the occupied two servants, both have been with my family for more than 10 years. Hi, Anna. My parents were hardly settled in the house when both servants complained about their room and wanted to change. At first, they would give no reason, but when questioned separately, they told a queer noise both at night, during the day, of mysteriously moving furniture, a whisper conversation, which were perfectly audible, but could not be understood in words. Neither of the servants would enter the house alone at night, and both declare that they felt the presence of a third person in their room at all the time. So at their request, they were given the little hall room next to the rear chamber in now I gotta fly. Whew. In this room they were apparently undisturbed. All this occurred while I was away at school. When I came home for Christmas, I had heard nothing about it. It was not until after the incident I am about to relate that my father told me the servant's complaint. I had been home more than a week and slept nightly in my little hall bedroom, undisturbed from the hours of my retirement to the clang of the rising bell in the morning. However, New Year's Eve, I was awakened from a sound sleep to discover that a ceiling light was burning brightly in my room. Sitting up in bed to try to ascertain why it was on, I had turned it off when I retired. I was amazed to discover a woman standing in the window of cove, looking out into the street or into the park. She was tall, slender, and dressed entirely in white, which contrasted strongly with the mass of black hair dressed high on her head. There was a single red rose tucked inside her hair. She held her hand to her temple as if she shielded her eyes from the light that she might see out into the darkness better. Hi, Colby. Mm. Hi, Onion, where I got lost. I couldn't see none of her features. I spoke, meaning to inquire who she was and what she wanted, and I suddenly found myself sitting up in bed in a complete darkness. The light and the lady had disappeared in an instant. I jumped out of my bed, turned on my lights, and looked about me. Everything in the room was perfectly normal and there was no evidence of anyone having entered or left it. I tried to persuade myself that I had been dreaming and reluctantly returned to bed, leaving the shades bedside lamp on. Next morning at breakfast, I related my experience to my parents and was accused of eating too much mince pie during the holiday. However, my father cautioned me not to mention the incident to either servant or to anyone likely to tell it to them. I never did. On my way to school, I soon forgot the incident. The following spring. I returned home for the Easter holiday and occupied the same room without a thought of my mystery visitor in white. This vacation, I was in my room nearly every night, for I was behind in my studies at school, and examinations were coming up. On Easter morning, I was in the parlor with friends, awaiting sunrise for the Easter service. My father was a very religious man. We were having coffee and donuts, holding our cups high, drinking the toast to the sunrise, when one of our guests, Miss Ossie Johnson of Portsmouth, Virginia, asked suddenly, "Who is that?" "Someone just passed the hall door and went upstairs." "It must have been one of the servants," I said. "No," she strongly persisted. "It was a young woman dressed entirely in white with lace couplet sleeves and a long train." I don't know if I want to finish this today. I felt my knees weaken, but fortunately the conversation changed and the guests were soon departing for Easter sunrise service. Just as they left, Miss Johnson turned to me laughingly and said, "You didn't tell me who the pretty brunette is you are secretly from your friends, Ed." "Is she really pretty?" I asked. "As though you didn't know," she replied. Friends coming and going through the day gave me little time to think about the strange visitor Miss Johnson had seen. Finally, evening came and I climbed the stairs to my room, where, without closing the door, I sat down and lit my pipe. I know, I now remember that it was during the New Year's holiday a few months ago that the lady in the white had appeared to me. "You are not allowed over there. Now get down." Finally, evening came and I climbed the stairs to my room, where, without closing the door, I sat down and lit my pipe. I now remember that it was during the New Year holiday a few months ago that the lady in white had appeared to me. At any rate, I decided not to go to bed. I don't know whether I had dozed off or but now and not but I suddenly saw the figure before the window. I saw the long train of her dress, the lace caplets, sleeves that Miss Johnson had described, the single red rose in her black hair, nodded as if the sudden movement. The lady seemed obviously oblique and solid. No part of the window sash showed through her. I could feel the perspiration coming out of her forehead, and although I clutched the arms of my chair tightly in. I can't read tonight. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna have to start this story over later. I don't know why. I think I'm tired. So what's everybody doing? Hello, welcome you four that are here. So how's everybody doing? Oh, I'm gonna get off here. I've had it.